Now we are going to start a very important and very interesting topic of mathematics, that is finding percentages. Alright. So if I ask you, can you mentally find out what is 15% of 120? Then what would your answer be? Alright, so I'm giving you 4 seconds and your time starts now. Your time is up. The correct answer is 18, of course. There it is. Now let us first see the usual way of finding the percentages. But before that, let me tell you what percentages are. Now the best part is that the word percentage itself says what it is. It is made up of two words, per and centage. That is out of 100. Centage is again coming from the word centum, which means 100. Like century has 100 years. So percentage means out of 100. Okay, once we have understood that, then calculating percentage would not be a problem. So in order to find 15% of 120, all you need to do is write 15 over 100, isn't it? 15 out of 100 times 120. Now just simplify it, cancel out this 0 here, this 0 here. Now you have to find what is 15 times 12. So either you can do it directly, because 15 times 12 is 180, or you can use the faster technique here, like 15 plus 2 is 17, and for the last digit 15 times 2 is 10, so it would be 180 over 10. Now strike out this 0 and this 0, so you are left with 18, and that is what the answer is. 15% of 120 is 18. But as you have yourself seen that despite using the shortcut technique, calculating the usual way takes little time and effort, isn't it? So now let me show you the easy way, the faster way of finding the percentages. So if you were to ask me what is 15% of 120, I'll straight away say it would be 12 plus 6, that is 18. Alright, I'm not going to do any calculation whatsoever. All I have done here is break 15% into two friendly parts, into two friendly numbers. So 10% plus 5%, isn't it, makes 15%, and finding 10%, 5%, 100% of anything is very simple using the decimal shifting trick of finding percentages. Okay, now before I teach you what is decimal shifting trick, you have to tell me what is the present position of decimal in 120. It is here, and this is equal to 100%, because 100% of any number is the number itself. Like you go to a shop and the shopkeeper gives you 100% discount, then what does it mean? It means that grab it, because he's giving it to you absolutely free of cost. That is the entire amount he has discounted. Now in order to find 10%, all you need to do is shift decimal one place to the left. So 10% of 120 would be 12. Shift the decimal to the left, so this makes it 10%. So 10% would be 12. Using the same logic, if I ask you to find 1%, then it would be 1.2, isn't it? Putting the decimal here, it will become 1.2. So I'm sure this is very clear now. So now tell me what would be 15% of 120. So immediately find the 10%, it would be 12, and 5% would be half of that plus 6, that is equal to 18. Isn't that much neater way of doing it? Now using the same logic, quickly find out what is 20% of 120. So I'm sure you have got the correct answer. It is 24, because 10% would be 12, shifting the decimal one place to the left, and double of that would be 24, isn't it? 20 is nothing but 10% plus 10%. Always break it up into friendly parts, into friendly numbers. Once again, find out what is 110% of 140. So break this into two friendly parts, 100 and 10. Now you know that you don't have to find 100%, it is the number itself. So it is 140, and 10% would be shifting the decimal one place, it would be 14, and 140 plus 14 would be 144. 154. 154 is the answer. I have used the jumping 10 technique of addition. See, if you practice these easy calc tricks, I can assure you, you'll be calculating so fast, so smoothly, your mind would be able to crunch the numbers without any effort. Now, you find out the percentages of these numbers. So, 95% of 1400. 95% is nothing but 100% minus 5%. And 100% of 1400 would be 1400, the number itself. So 5% would be 10% is 140. So 5% is half of that, that is 70. So 1400 minus 70 is 1330. That's your first answer. Now look at the second one. 75% is nothing but 50% plus 25%, and 50% of 440 would be half of this, that is 220, isn't it? And half of that, that is half of 50% is 25%, so half of 220 is 110. So adding 220 to 110, it would be 230 and 330 using the jumping trick of addition. All right, so now look at this. 60%. 60% is nothing but, right, 50% plus 10%. So 50% of 320 would be 160 and 10% would be 32. 160 plus 32 is 192. So this is the answer. Okay, so this is the last example. Quickly find out what is 20% of 132. 10% would be 13.2 and 20% would be double of that, that is 26.4. That is your answer. Now I'm sure you can easily find percentages ending in 0 or 5 for any number. So now if you go to a shop and it is giving you a discount of say 15% on $320, you know that how much you have to pay, isn't it? How much?